Hi, my name is Chris, and I run product marketing here at Markup AI. Thank you so much for starting your trial with us. We're excited to have you on board. I'm going to walk you through a couple of the quick different dashboards and areas that we have in the product to get you started really fast. When you first log in, you'll be welcomed with our dashboard here. And this is where you can take a couple of different actions to start building apps as a developer, automate workflows with tools like Contentful or Zapier, or just start creating content within our Writer's Playground. And that's the direction we're going to go in today. But before we start creating content, we need to do a couple of things first. First and foremost, we need to upload or make sure we're using the right style guide that we want. This is where you can take your own enterprise or business PDF style guide and upload it into our platform. We will ingest that and create a special set of rules to make sure that all the content you generate follows and meets those guidelines. Now, I already have one uploaded in here, but if you don't have one, that's okay, because we have some preset guidelines for AP, Microsoft, and Chicago that you can use right out of the gate so you don't have to wait to get started. The second best part is to add some of your terminology, and adding terminology is very easy. You might need to add terminology because you might have certain industry terms that matter to you, or acronyms that need to be used accurately, or brand terms that are confused quite often. Adding a term is as simple as adding in the term that is not what you want, if you typically have something that's commonly misspelled, or adding in the specific term that you want to make sure is always spelled right. So you can have a term that constantly looks for issues that you find and put that in, so we will identify those and make sure that we provide feedback and correct any mistakes when it comes to those tools. And you can also end in some content-dependent terms, which means you only use this term depending on the context of the content that you're writing this in. And you can also add some notes in here as well, so you can describe why you are flagging this type of term. So we already have a few items in here. They're really easy to add. Next, we're going to go ahead on over to the Writer's Playground. This is where we can go ahead and actually start seeing the results of what we're building. So first and foremost, underneath configurations, we can set or select a dialect. We currently support 3 different versions of English dialect for British, Canadian, and American English. We have a handful of terms you can go ahead and choose, and you can choose the style guide you care for if you'd like to pick one of these, or we can use the special one that we have. You can either upload a text file or markdown file, or you can type directly into the text box here to put in your content. And first, we're going to go ahead and check and suggest. As this is sent out, Markup AI is checking to make sure that the content you entered meets the style guide and terminology standards that you've asked it to check for. We can see here we're not getting a great quality score. We're decent on the spelling and grammar, but we're not consistent in our writing, and we have some terminology issues. And we have some additional scores down below here to understand just some of the clarity analysis and metrics like our flesh, reading ease, sentence complexity, how complex is the vocabulary we're using. And I can come through here and actually hover over and understand what the issues are and click a suggestion to fix. So we have a little bit of a tone alignment issue. We have MPC. So it's supposed to be MCP for Model Context Protocol. I am using the wrong term, and we saw earlier that I had that in as one of my terms in my for me. So I'm going to say Markup AI, rewrite everything with the brand style and terminology that you know about us to get us great scoring content. And we can see now we've got some feedback here, a newly rewritten text for this, and we've got great scores. We have a 14-point increase to meet our brand standards and style. So I can copy and paste this and bring this into the document that I was working in. Now, that is the extent of the Writer's Playground. If you are more of a developer and you want to start using this via the API, I'd recommend getting an API key. You can generate a key easily by clicking Generate Key, giving it a name, and then you will receive a display for you to copy your API key. You will only be able to see that key at that moment. After that, you will not be able to regenerate that full key, so I suggest you store it in a safe place. So I have one for this demo test example. Once I have that key, I can go to my developer portal. This is where we have all of our installation and usage documentation for developers to get these up and running in your own applications or content workflows. But something I want to show you real quick is how you can actually interact with Markup AI using that key directly in the documentation portal. So just like you saw earlier how I was uploading and looking at style guides, I can go ahead and try this, use that key, and then send requests and get feedback. So we can see that I had my Markup AI style guide, I had my AP style guide, my Chicago style guide, and my Microsoft style guide. And these are the IDs I can use to start making requests and asking for help. So if I come back in here and I start using things like I could get a style check or create a style suggestion, or I could actually send in content and get a whole style rewrite. Just like you saw earlier, I can choose my specific style guide, add a file if I need to add a file, which I have here, and then I can go ahead and send my request. And now it's running. So I can take this workflow ID and check to see when it's complete, to see what kind of a payload I'll receive when the check is finished. So I can go to Style Rewrite, paste in my workflow ID, and send the request. And it looks like it's already finished. So I can see some of the configuration information. I chose American English, the tone is conversational. And if I go down, I can start seeing all of the issues that are being identified and where they are being found and the scores that we have. So we have some original text, subcategories where the issues are. We have some suggestions on improvements to make that I can use in my code if I want to call these out. And then furthermore, as we get to the end, we'll see a lot of our scoring information as well. So we can see our terminology score, our consistency score, our grammar score. We have our general score down below for quality. And then we also have our rewrite text, which was rescored at 100, like we saw earlier. And this is my entire rewrite paragraph. So this is a great, easy way for you to come in, start using the tool, whether you just want to start getting used to it, uploading style guides, or learning how to actually use the API keys to make API calls and seeing what kind of feedback you receive when you are using Markup AI. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at community.acrolinks.com, and we look forward to seeing you get started. Take care.